This is Dylan plus one with my friend Devon, one of my oldest friends. You watch we podcast?
No, I used to listen to one a little bit ago. It was like fucking super mega, but I would just put it on like in the car if I was like, well, I don't know what I want to put on to listen to, so like fuck it, I'll just put a podcast on or something.
Yeah, we've gotten to this loop of just like comedian podcasts. So like some of our favorite comics, they'll have guests on, and then we'll go either watch that person's like stand up or like their podcast that they do.
Okay.
And like this one guy we just started watching, two of these comics that we like. They do one where it's like in his basement. They have like a couch and the mics are in their hands. Like it's like just a chill like environment.
Yeah, I think I see a lot. Like I know there's another YouTuber I watch called like Cold Ones, and like that's how they do their podcast. Like you obviously you don't see it, but you can watch it, and they're just like chilling in chairs with like microphones.
Yeah,
like,
just chilling, sitting there talking about whatever. And then the other part was just that it's cool to be able to have something that will last for a while with like all my friends and family and stuff like
timestamp.
Yeah, exactly. Because all of the stuff like we can reminisce and shoot the shit, but if we reminisce and shoot the shit on camera, then you know that it keeps it like in the history books for us, which I like. There's the Bella. And then Jasmine actually Jasmine wrote some questions down for us, which is cool. So that way we can like actually like keep the flow going. So.
Is this recording right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're live and
Damn,
ready.
Official.
Yeah, live and ready to go. Stepping on the cords.
Yeah, these mics are cool. I almost wish I had like a mic for this for like fucking gaming rather than like a headset.
Yeah, they're not that expensive. Most of them too should have. I don't know about this one, but I know that one has like a headphone jack in the bottom of it, so you can plug that in and then have your headset. So you know what I mean. So it's like one whole thing, and you can hear what you're.
Yeah, because we also Natalie, you remember Natalie? Yeah. Me and Caleb play D&D with her sometimes.
Oh, that's cool.
I used to use a mic kind of like this because it's easier than like, because we can go for like 5 hours and having headphones in your ears like starts to hurt after a while.
Well, even like the headset I have for playing for like when I live stream, I like have to take it off because like my ear hurts after a while.
Because it's like either that or you use like the stock like shitty iPad microphone.
Yeah.
So it's like. It obviously doesn't bother me, but then like everyone else is hearing like my iPad mic.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I remember like the one that probably hurt me the most was when we played on the PlayStation 3. I had just the Bluetooth, just the little one that fit right in my ear, and it like hurt because it went over the ear, and that was like painful to just sit there and use that. But that was
I had the Bluetooth too,
little Bluetooth headset for the PlayStation.
The tech.
Oh man, I remember that. I'm gonna get into the new Zombies soon. I think I haven't gotten it because the game's expensive.
Yeah, Michael caved in and bought it, and he was saying he was having fun with Zombies.
Yeah, my dad said the same thing.
But I'm like right there with you because I just bought Sparking Zero.
Yeah, and that was probably a $70 fucking game.
Yeah,
too.
It is like I was telling Michael, I was like, I've been having fun with it, but like I kind of wish I didn't pay $70 for it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I have a really big problem with Game Pass. I think it's more bad than it is good, just because it leaves people less money, and then it's not as competitive, and then now games are more expensive too. So it's like it's the back and forth of you can pay a little bit and play these games. But like with like specifically Call of Duty, I mean, can you imagine if it was a little bit cheaper, people probably would have just bought it. But instead, they're like, oh, day one, Game Pass. Like as long as you got this subscription service, you can just play this right away. And like I hate that because it like it feels like it ruined it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I have like the PlayStation Plus, whatever the fuck it's called. And I've been playing this game called Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Yeah.
But it's because it was free on PlayStation Plus. So, like, I haven't bought any games, and I probably never would have bought that game in my life.
Yeah.
But it's like...
It's free on there.
Do I want to play this game that's just free? Or, like, do I actually want to buy a game? Like, I'll just play this free game.
Yeah. Well, what gets me is, like, Jacob was asking, with, like, certain games, he's like, well, I noticed that I maybe have 3 games in my rotation, but I'm really only playing 1. So after you pay for Game Pass for 3 months, it's like $20-something bucks. So all of a sudden, 3 months in, if you've only been playing 1 game, you've paid for that game. And now, if you don't have a subscription service, you can no longer play that game.
Yeah.
Like I even thought about it today. Like I just got to I'm calling it 100% on Astrobot. Is what I'm calling. I haven't gotten all the trophies because there's little trophies that like you have to do specific things in certain missions that I've missed, and they were hidden. They were hidden trophies, so I didn't know
so
what's
you'd have
what.
to like Google
But
it.
I got every Astrobot, and I got all the puzzle pieces, and like I got all the stuff. I completed all the missions. I like practically 100%ed the whole game. And I was thinking about it literally today. I was like, damn, I probably should have bought that game physically because I could have just given it to you now that I'm done. You know what I mean? But now because I was like, there's certain games that we should probably go back to doing that. Like, it's like the three of us. Now that you got a PlayStation 5, too, especially.
I was thinking about trading in my games, but like I really tried to get away from that because like
Yeah.
I finally when I traded in a game, like
That's what you wanted.
you wanted it back.
Yeah.
But I feel I was just about to say I feel like the other thing with like the subscription type game thing is like there's no like attachments to games anymore.
Yeah.
Like since I've had the PlayStation Premium or whatever, like I'll download a game, I'll play that shit for like 30 minutes. Like, man, this game sucks.
Yeah.
Let me go see what else I can download.
What else is
So
there?
it's like I'm not beating any games. I'm not probably getting to the good part of any games. I'm just
Yeah.
playing a bunch of games and then like getting bored. And
Yeah.
watching YouTube.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Yeah. And that's the thing. I only have like a select few games now that I play. Like I only play a couple, and then like new stuff comes out, and if I want to spend the money on it, I'm like, all right.
And
like,
that's
I'll
it.
go
Like you have that mentality of like,
maybe
you
I'll
know,
spend the money on this.
well, it's like I've been playing all these free games and like none of them are even that sick. So it's like, what if I buy a $70 game, but then that game sucks? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that was somewhat like that's why I was thinking about Back for Blood. Is I was like, I paid full price for that game when it first came out. I maybe played it twice. Like I haven't played it past that, but it's hard because I haven't. I like the original one. I played for 5 minutes and was like, I have to keep playing this. But that one you play and you're like, all right, like I did it, yeah.
Okay,
But that's kind of what I'm afraid of with getting back into Black Ops 6. Like getting into that is like the zombies looks cool, but my dad made a good point. He's like, well, you can just come over here and play it here, and I'm like, yeah, like might as well just like try it once and see it because I don't know, I might not get like rehooked to zombies. But what would be kind of cool, my little PlayStation Portal thing works really well, so that would kind of be cool. Like I could be anywhere playing zombies. Like we could play multiplayer that way too. This is still
my only thing with Call of Duty is like, if I was gonna buy it, I would hope the multiplayer is also fun because $70 just for zombies is like kind of rough.
Well, in the clips I've seen of the campaign, it looks no fun.
Yeah,
like doesn't look.
honestly,
It looks great.
If I didn't buy
visually,
the Modern Warfare remastered specifically for the campaign, I don't see myself buying any Call of Duty for the campaign.
You know what? That's true. That's a really good point. I didn't do that either. I was like,
like that campaign was sick.
yeah, that game's great.
But I don't know if I'd actually pay for it.
Yeah. I was thinking the other day, one thing I remember like vividly, you probably remember this too. One of like the most like vivid memories of when we were kids was fighting the Kongala on Monster Hunter on the way to Legoland and just having no fucking clue what we're doing.
Alright,
Had like
dude.
the shittiest weapons, like just
I think about that all the time.
I
'Cause it's
do
like,
too, like constantly.
Like my personal journey with Monster Hunter as someone who considers themselves like pretty good at that game now
Yeah.
is like, bro, I sucked ass at that game, and I was like, well, maybe my aunt's because you'd go on YouTube and you see like 4 people fucking up a monster. I was like, well, maybe I should get Dylan to this. And then,
Yeah.
like maybe that's the problem.
Maybe that's the issue.
And
We just
it's
need
like-
more people.
I don't know, because I've gone back and I've played like on emulators like that exact Monster Hunter, and it's like you can optimize that shit so fast and like get so far in that game. And whereas like it took me like months, and like we were fighting shit with bone weapons that you shouldn't be fighting with bone weapons.
Definitely
but, like,
not. Yeah.
I didn't know I was supposed to fucking get max light ore and upgrade my iron katana to fucking whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It was so difficult. But now, like, that's what got me with the newer ones is like they don't hold your hand, but when you run through a new one, I feel like we just are blasting through those games. Like,
Yeah.
it's so simple now. It's just go here, do that, gotta fight this. You know what I mean? Ooh, that's cool. Like it's but that fighting the Kongala and getting farted on and just getting our asses kicked. I love that shit. I miss how fun I don't know who I was telling the other day. I think it might have been Jasmine, but I was saying that we used to be able to play just next to each other on the PSP, and one of us would be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. So we'd have to like walk with each other to keep the PSPs within a certain distance,
Oh,
and then
my
like close the door, like sit on the opposite side of the bathroom door to like keep playing. I loved that. I don't remember. Do you remember what that Dragon Ball Z game was called? That fighting one on the PSP.
Oh, it
We
was
played
a
the fuck out
Tenkaichi
of it.
Tag Team.
Is that tag team?
That game
Yeah,
was sick,
dude. We played that game. I don't even know. I wish like games now have the little like counter where it clocks how many hours you play. I wish we had that for some of our old games because we played those all night.
The PSP was sick because when we got into it, it was so old, but like retro gaming wasn't really like a thing. So you could just go to GameStop and get like 17 games for like $5 for the PSP.
Yeah, no one cared about that.
And they're all like fucking 10 out of 10 games. You know, so.
Yeah, the PSP that thing was so much fun to play. That's probably what's kept me with PlayStation so long is I've had a Sony account and like all this stuff for forever. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen the stuff online, but the PlayStation 5 Pro, that thing is a beast. It's like it's crazy that it was that big of a jump from just the PlayStation 5 because the PlayStation 5 is a fucking beast.
Yeah, I think my only problem with PlayStation 5, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but I've definitely talked to like Jared and stuff, is even when I had a PlayStation 4, like I knew I had a PlayStation 4 and I had like no clear goal of getting a PS5 at some point, I was still disappointed that they're still making games for PS4.
Yeah.
So it feels like even if you have a PS5 or now the PS5 Pro, like what games are being made that like need that technology? Like I feel like games are almost being held back because they know so many people still have PlayStation 4 that they're like, well, shit, this just still got to run on a PS4.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like we're not making as cool of games as we could be getting.
Yeah.
We're trying to still keep
That's exactly the problem a lot of people have online. Like, you're not alone. Like, a lot of people hate that because they're like, we should be pushing forward. But at the same time, what gets me is the fact that I like that, like, in your case, you didn't have a PlayStation 5 for, like, I don't know, like 3-4 years.
Yeah,
like it's been out for a really long time. It's been years. The nice part is you still had the opportunity to play like Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider-Man,
Street Fighter 6.
Like you have the opportunity to still play those games. Yet if you played it like even today, like I've seen the visual differences between the remastered Horizon Zero Dawn on a PS5 and just a PS5 Pro. And even that jump is like it's literally just quality of life. Like everything is just it looks great, it runs great. Spider-Man's running at 8K. Like it's one of those things where I like that you can have the ability because I will get the Pro maybe at some point if I can trade mine in and make it work and whatever. But it's just expensive. It's fucking $700. But I paid in, I think, 2020, 2021, whenever I got my console, I paid $750 for that machine. So, like, my PlayStation 5 was technically more expensive to me because I had to buy it from a scalper.
Yeah, right.
It was more expensive to me. So, to me, $700 for an upgrade is, like, technically better if I can get, like, $450 for that in a trade-in. But, yeah, no, it's just, I like that you can still have the opportunity to play certain games. Because, like, you and I could have even still technically played multiplayer on a 5 and a 4.
Yeah.
Because that was something I told Jacob. I never played Arkham Knight. I still to this day have never played Arkham Knight. Okay. And the reason I haven't played that game was because it came out when the 4 came out. It was the big PlayStation 4 game was Batman Arkham Knight. And it was supposed to be super big and it never ended up running on PC and like all this other stuff. It was a whole controversial thing at the time. I only watched someone play that game because I didn't have the upgrade from the 3 to the 4, and I waited and waited and waited, and I was like, I just can't wait anymore. I got to see what happens in this game. And so I ended up with just watching someone play it. So if now you're kind of in that spot where I don't think you might be able to play Astrobot on only a PS5.
I think you can.
I think it's
only
just
on
a
5,
PS5.
just because all like the particles.
Yeah,
like, it's supposed to be like
effects.
a showcase.
Oh, and then like the controller movements. Yeah, like certain things like that. But like that's the unfortunate part is like it would be cool if you could still play that game on a 4. Like you know what I mean? Like it's cool that they have that ability, but you're right. There's gonna be those games though, especially now with how strong the PlayStation is. Console games are able to like crank it up.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like obviously there's like the PC gaming community, which like they have no issues. They've always been playing like the top line shit.
Thing, yeah.
But the thing is that like it or not, console games still kind of like control the game industry.
Oh yeah.
So like if we're still having to make games that run on the PS4, then we're not making optimized games for the PS5, and then we're especially not making optimized games for the PC.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because there's this guy called Avoiding the Puddle that I watch on Twitch.
Yeah.
And when the PS5 first came out, it came with the Demon Souls remake or whatever. And he was like, "Oh man, like I wish you guys could see this shit in front of you right now, because like it probably doesn't look as cool on the stream as it does in person.
Yeah.
But like this game looks sick." And when I got my PS5, it was free on PlayStation Plus. And if it's still free, honestly, you should download that game. Like whether you like Dark Souls or not, whether you're gonna play it, like download it just to see it. Because like when I finally got to play it, I was like, "Holy shit!" The graphics in this game are like crazy. Like like and I'm not a graphic guy. I would play fucking Final Fantasy 7 or like Nintendo 64 game. And like, that shit's hype to me. Yeah. I really don't care about graphics, but even I was like, holy shit.
Like, damn. Yeah.
So it's like, it'd be cool to see more games like that.
Yeah. I don't know. They probably did it. And there's going to be this whole new collection coming out. But I had that same thought with the new Harry Potter, that like Hogwarts Legacy game. Like there's the scene where you like pan in and they show the castle. And I was like, damn. Like this looks crazy, because like you said, we've played like Street Fighter Third Strike. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm used to like almost 2D graphics. So to see an almost realistic, because they're doing the same thing in PlayStation VR. Like it looks almost like borderline realistic, which is just crazy.
It's fun to. I definitely in my older age, my old man era. I definitely like games that like are almost more linear, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, let me just play some levels. Let me just like collect some shit.
Exactly.
I've kind of like moved away from like my younger area where I was like, game's got to be open world. It's got to be 80 hours long.
Yeah.
There better be 50,000 side quests.
Yeah. Well, I had that same problem with the newer God of Wars. Like I loved those games. They look great. They play great. The combat's great. But like, there were more than maybe 10 or 15 times where I'm standing there going, where do I go? Where do I go over there? Do I do this? Yeah. And then like you go up and you spend. It's the same thing with Jedi Fallen Order. The like Jedi games, they have the same problem. You'll spend 10 minutes in one direction, and then you get there and you don't have like that ability unlocked yet to like jump over this chasm or whatever. And I don't know that. So I've been trying to jump over this fucking thing for like 20 minutes. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I look it up and someone's like, well, first you got to go to this other planet and talk to this guy and do this mission and get this special jump, and then you can go back. And then it's like, fuck, like I didn't know that. And I just spent 15, 20, 30 minutes in one direction, and then now I just wasted that whole playtime of not actually playing the game.
I just get tired of games like, all right, game start. Like, this is your character. This is your base. You can collect resources and record dudes to your base. And, like, this bar is going to fill up. And you can do side missions to fill up this meter and that. And, like I don't know, man. Like, let me just
do some shit.
Let me just get to all the cool parts of the game for, like, 13 hours and then, like, wrap it up.
Yeah. But, like, with, like, the God of War and all that shit, I know there's 1,000 things I missed. Like, I saw today, he references Sony PlayStation All-Stars. The head on his thing is like, weren't you in a tournament with a fox and like the best rapper in the world or something like that? Like he references like this tournament with these different Sony characters, and then he's like, oh, we're not going to talk about that. So like they don't really talk, but it literally is a PlayStation All-Stars reference, which that's another one of the like best games we've ever. Like you, me, and Jared playing Sony PlayStation.
That game
All-Stars
sucks ass, but that game was sick.
It's the worst. So some of these questions are hilarious. We've been talking about video games for a minute, so I'll divert just because
we're nerds, guys.
It's a nerd thing. Well, and that's what's cool. Like that's why I like doing the one-on-one. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but Joe Rogan does one-on-one. I mean, he does a lot of other things, but they're predominantly one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I like that because then you get that personal thing. Like our connection pretty much is the thousands of hours we've played video games either alone or together. Yeah. From World of Warcraft and all. So yeah, like that's the nice part of these one-on-one things is that's our connection. Like when I had my dad on, we talked about the Kings for probably way too long. So it's like, stuff like that. This is funny. So we can talk. This is still kind of a nerd thing, but I love that she wrote this down. Why is Luke the wackest Jedi?
Oh my goodness. So all right. So let me preface by saying that I recently went back This is a while ago, but Eric let me borrow his like collection of Star Wars movies, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna watch Phantom Menace, and I probably stayed up all day and like almost made it to Return of the Jedi, like watching all the way through.
Nice.
But then I fucking fell asleep and had to like continue it. So Luke is a lot cooler now than I thought he was, but I think the wackest Jedi Luke Skywalker argument came from Luke Skywalker's not like a sick Jedi. Like we're talking about like in terms of skill and like fighting and like doing cool shit. Like he doesn't really do cool shit.
He was
more
an
like
adventurer.
Yeah, he's more like a crucial piece, and it's because like no one taught him to do shit. You know, like he was like the last Jedi. You know, not that movie.
Not that movie, but
but yeah, the thing was Michael was talking about that like Luke's the greatest Jedi. Like, well, he's not. You know, like Obi-Wan could take him in a fight. Like Anakin's way stronger than him. Mace Windu, Yoda, like whatever. But I was talking to Michael, you gotta, if you kind of look at it like after watching all 6 movies, like if we're just counting those, nothing else, like in the end, like Anakin Skywalker is like still the main character. He's the one that's supposed to save the galaxy, and he kind of does. Luke doesn't do it; he just gets him there.
Yeah,
and that's what makes Luke so important because, like, Anakin was a Jedi. He was like a really good Jedi. And then, kind of Mace Windu and Obi-Wan failed him by, like, Mace Windu was showing him that, like, well, fuck the Jedi way, like, I'm going to kill the Sith. And then, like, instead of trying to help, Obi-Wan just, like, immediately tried to kill him. So, like, his view of, like, what a Jedi was, like, shaken up. So then he's like, well, let me just say Padme, she dies, like, and, he goes down that evil path. And Luke ends up doing, like, what Obi-Wan should have done way back then. When he goes to fight Darth Vader, instead of doing that, he like throws away his like lightsaber. He's like, I'm not going to fight you. And I think that's what kind of jogs like Anakin's memory of like, oh shit.
He's like, yeah,
that's what being a fucking Jedi is. So that's what makes Luke important.
Yeah.
That sacrifice that like he could have fucked everything up right there, but he didn't. He like saved Darth Vader.
That's a good point. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a good. And it's funny. I tell people that story all the time about you guys like half-ass screaming at each other in the room, like, "But fuck it, like Lucas."
Because like all the extended universe shit, where like Luke's pulling down like a Imperial Star Destroyer, like none of that shit's earned. Who taught him to do that shit?
But there's a lot of there's one, the video game, the Battlefront. I think it's 1 or 2, whichever Battlefront remake. Luke's in it for like a second, and he in the extended universe, to my knowledge, I'd never really looked into it because, like you, I mean, I like the content they put out, but I don't like read the books or the comics or whatever.
Yeah,
like, I know some of what happened, but I don't keep that as like canon to me. So like Luke's done some crazy shit, and he explored a lot. So that's where people are like, oh well, he got all this knowledge from like training by like just traveling, and it's like, yeah, but at the same time he got all the books together, he did this and that and whatever, but like that doesn't make you the best. And you're right, the story, like people are always talking about, they're like, why don't we get a Darth Vader movie, or why don't we get an Anakin movie? And it's like there's like 6 of them. Like that's his whole story.
Whenever I make the argument of Luke Skywalker being kind of whack, it's in the context of like only those first 6 movies being canon. Exactly. No extended universe,
nothing
no books, comic books, whatever.
Just those 6.
Yeah.
Which is like the main, when you look back, it has to make those main 6. Because like, I don't know, you probably aren't as deep with it, but like the Acolyte, there was that new show that came out, there was a small issue where Kiamunde's in it, but it's set 100 years in the past.
Yeah.
And there's like a collector's trading card or a CD-ROM bullshit. There's something that existed forever ago that has his birthday, and people are like, you broke canon. It's like, that's not how canon works. Like that's not how that works. Like as long as it doesn't interfere with those 6 movies, which people were like, well, it did because he knew about this like Sith uprising, and it's like, well, no, because people complained before the show was even over. By the end of the show, they covered it up. So like during the Old Republic, a Sith rose, and like Darth Plagueis was there, and like there was the whole like thing of where 100 years before Anakin was even born, and the Jedi completely covered it up. and people were mad that like it broke canon. It's like it didn't break canon. It happened originally. Like these 6 movies didn't break anything. We never talked about Kiamunde's birthday. He had 2 lines.
All the extended stuff takes away from like the significance of like Luke being this lone Jedi, Return of the Jedi, whatever. Because then it's like, oh, well, Ahsoka's out there, and like, oh, well, the rebels are out there, and that guy's a lightsaber. There's all these hidden Jedi that are like, it's cool.
Yeah.
But usually when I have like a serious Star Wars conversation, it's like, well, pretend that shit doesn't exist.
Exactly. Yeah, let's fight
because it didn't at the time.
Yeah. Well, because it's I just like it now because it comes down to I really like when someone says something or there's a character that will like deliver a line or they'll walk into a room of someone who like just a few years ago, maybe they just worked together, but in the story, these characters haven't seen each other in decades or whatever it is. Like it's a significant moment. That's what I like with those like extended things where like they call back and they're like, look, like during this time while all this is going on, you now know that this was also happening over here. But this was just happening. Like to the people who are in these 6 movies, this is their only perception. Yeah, Ahsoka exists. And like when Ahsoka, like I don't know if you've seen it, but Ahsoka meets Luke and they train Grogu in The Mandalorian.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. I've seen where she fights Darth Vader and like I think it's Rebels.
Yeah, she fights Darth Vader. She does the same thing he did in the Obi-Wan show where he cuts his mask and she sees his skin.
Yeah.
But it's like it's cool because like Ahsoka's standing there with Luke and it's like it's those moments. People love to give those shows shit, but like I love that moment of like your dad was her master. And this and like it's like a cool I like that, but I will never like tooth and nail be like, but that has to change this. It's like no, we had our section, we had our little like we have our canon, we have our stories.
And I think I agree with you on that. When it gets to the extended universe and stuff, like that's where you should just be having fun. Like who cares?
It's just fun stuff. Yeah, like I'd like to know what also's happening, Like it's cool to like this is what's going on, but like it's cool to think that for a section of time, Darth Vader was hunting different rebels, and he wasn't just hunting Luke. And you know what I mean? Like Luke and Han are the big ones, but they're not the only problem. Because I mean, there's huge sections of time, and so like that. But that's the fun shit. Like that's the excess fun stuff, Like, and I get people not wanting canon to be broken, but it's easy because there's the you just get the stuff that we know is canon. Everyone else, it's just stories at that point. But yeah, that's one of the funniest times I was arguing about.
That was very funny.
And that's another thing I could talk about for 20,000 hours is fucking Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So these questions are interesting. I was going to ask something around the lines of this, anyways. At some point, I know you've been working a little bit more with music. At some point, we should, if we don't start a band, I have like a bucket list of recording a song. Like, we should, at the very least, like, I was talking originally to Jasmine about seeing if you would help me write my outro song for this podcast. Because I need, like, a little outro to start putting onto the end of them. And I was thinking it'd be cool to have some kind of fun animation with, like, oh, look. So, like, she made me these. Like, these little, like, magnets that say Dylan +1. Because I didn't do the intro. Hold on. This is Dylan +1 with my friend Devon, one of my oldest friends. Throw that in there. I've been getting good at editing, but yeah. So like this kind of thing. So like we were talking about like having these flash at the end, so it'd be like ba 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 ba, and then there'd be music behind it. And so
I guess I should say side tangent here.
Yeah.
But speaking of me and Dylan's origin. I remember coming from Florida to California in 6th grade. And speaking of Star Wars, I remember on the playground doing like the Star Wars shit and getting made fun of. And I was like, fuck it. I'm not talking to anybody about Star Wars ever again.
That's interesting.
And I found motherfucking Dylan. I remember like clear as day sitting on the bleachers. And we started talking about Star Wars, and then suddenly, like, we were sitting on the bleachers, and, like, we were pretending we were, like, in the Millennium Falcon. And, like, we were sitting in the cockpit, like, piloting, and, like, ever since then, it's been, like, that's my fucking best friend, bro.
Hell yeah. Do you know what's funny about that? I remember it differently.
Really?
So I remember we were walking back to class, and you were walking with this kid. And the kid, I don't remember what he said, but it was something stupid. Like he had some dumb take on Star Wars, and I, for no reason at all, butted in with the correct take, and then that kid just walked away, and you and I kept talking. Yeah. That's what I don't. It maybe there's some it was like 5th grade, so it's forever away. I don't remember all that, but that's funny that it was still Star Wars for me. I remember we were talking about Star Wars, but like I remember saying, like, interjecting, like I cut some kid off, and then that kid like just left, and so like I kind of took over. I was like, you're not.
I think it's such an important moment because like I could have been like such a different person if I would have like decided to just like bought all that stuff and be like, well, I guess that's not cool anymore. I'm not going to be into that type of stuff, you know.
Yeah. I remember like some of the first stuff that some of the first things we had done together was like I came over, we were messing around with all the Legos that you had, doing the little like stop motion. Yeah. My phone, the technology of that phone, I don't know why it had the ability to do it, but it was able to just pause videos. Like I had TikTok on my phone before it even existed. You just start and stop, and it was a video, and you just move the Lego guys. And it was awesome too, because it had audio, so we could just talk over the guys just standing there. I lost that phone, and I searched for it for years. It's never resurfaced. My mom probably just tossed it.
Yeah, I used to do one with.
I wish I had it so bad.
Michael's phone, and then he had it in his bag for like football, and like spilled Gatorade on it, like everyone did. And I remember like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I love that shit. That was some of the. We used to just fucking die laughing. I don't remember what the stories were. The concepts.
I don't know. We just making bullshit up.
Yeah, always making some kind of crazy shit up.
Going back to music, so.
Oh yeah. Music.
So me and Jared, we've actually been in talks. Like we like down to like choosing like a band name and everything. So like we've agreed that like we're at the point where like we could make music. Like, you know. I'm not the best guitar player in the world, but I can play guitar. Yeah. Jared's kind of in the same boat. He can play bass. I can kind of play piano. I know how to work like a MIDI keyboard. Like, you know, we have like GarageBand or whatever. Yeah. We've kind of decided. Me and Jared, we talked about making a band, which is like Vocaloid. That'd be like your Hatsune Miku, like the digitized voice. And shit. Okay. Because then I can just play it on piano and like we can just put whatever. And like, there's some cool bands that do that.
Yeah.
I think the problem we just come into is like drums, and like Jared has like drum software where like you can program it.
Yeah.
But we just have to like test around and make it up. But I think the biggest problem is just like scheduling, like just getting everyone in the right place. Because I have like hella speakers, I have a fucking or not speakers, amps. I have hella amps. I have a bass amp. You know, I have hella guitar pedals and shit. I have all the shit to set them up. Yeah. You have microphones and stuff. So like we could do it. It's just like.
We have to do it.
Getting everyone to do it,
yeah. We can do it. We just have to do it. I like the idea of it because, like, there's songs that I hear that I'm like, there's one that I've been hooked on recently from Incubus that I really like. That I'm like, I feel like with the right backing track, we could pull off some pretty amazing songs just with a singer and like a guitarist and a bassist, or like a, you know what I mean, like because we could just do backtracks, you know, just have something playing in the back that we play over. Because I don't know any instruments, but I can fuck around. I would love to learn drums, so that's another one that like because I was thinking about getting one of those electric drum sets just because for like convenience of like getting it down, and then like doing an actual set eventually.
Well, I think it'd be cool for you to just focus on vocals. Like you sing pretty good and you've done it before.
I like it.
Like you don't have any issues singing in front of a crowd. And I think I don't know about Jared, but I think as a musician, that's been my kind of like I've never had the desire to really sing. And a lot of my favorite bands, unfortunately, have female vocals, which is like I don't have female vocals. You know, like my best would be like, hey Kayla, you want to be my vocalist? So I think that's where I've leaned in some of the Vocaloid, because there's some people that kind of do it that way.
Yeah, which I'm down for. I like that. I like doing the singing aspect, and then I know for a fact I'm not like the best singer in the world, but if I did something and then you and Jared back up sung matched just like a few chords, like long chords and stuff, and make it sound so good.
And
like that's all it really needs. Like you just a lower kind of extra mics in the back, make
And
it sound way better.
I think too. I think the depiction of like a really good singer like isn't even like there's with like SoundCloud and like YouTube and all that stuff. Like there's such a space for like these just garage bands, and I think people kind of like that, like down to earth.
Yeah,
like these are just some dudes fucking
100%.
making music. Because when I was playing or taking guitar lessons, like probably like half a year now, I canceled them just recently. But my guitar teacher almost had the mentality of like, all right, like obviously you kind of like taught yourself some shit. And like I could just sit here and like do scales and stuff all day, but like you seem like you just want to like make music.
Yeah.
Like I told him like, you know, when it comes to piano, I would just kind of want to learn to play like other stuff, like shit from video games, Minecraft, you know,
Right.
whatever. But when it comes to guitar, I actually want to like make my own music. So he was like, well, I'll just teach you how to do that shit. Like let's just
There
learn
you
how
go.
to make stuff.
That's cool.
You know, fuck all that other stuff. So like on my iPad, like I have like songs that I've made, but they're made with like the garage band like sample list of like drums and stuff. So
Yeah.
like I have the ability to make a song. I just don't have the ability to make the songs I want to make.
That makes
That's
sense.
kind of where I'm at as
Yeah.
far as making music.
Yeah. Well, and I'm too. I'm ready. I'm down for even like on top of making music, just trying to learn some songs that we can get like because if we had, I'd say maybe 5 covers just locked in, like we could just at any point like fucking you want to hear piano, man? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if we just had a few things locked in, we could even like play parties. You know what I mean? Like we can bring because like I've seen people where that's what they do. Like they bring their shit to the party and we are the music. You know what I mean? And if we had 5 songs, that's easily
And
half an
it's
hour
almost
right
good
off the
to
jump.
learn like a cover like that because a part of playing in a band is playing in a band. So
Exactly.
you know, if you already have the work done of like what the song is, then you can work on like, you know, playing in time with everyone,
Yeah,
singing, because it's a lot different from singing with, you know,
a track.
yeah, on the radio you're just kind of following along. Now you have to get those cues by yourself. You know,
Exactly.
the fucking drums have to come in at the right time, the guitar solo has to start, you have to know when to start singing.
Yeah.
It's not going to start for you, you know.
Well, and that was the cool part with doing that one, like the performance I did in my senior year. 'Cause I've done that. Like I sat down with the guy, he did the guitar, and I sang, and we had to learn the beats and learn each other and that whole thing. So yeah, it's cool. I definitely, I think we should. I mean, we've been asked if we're in a band, so might as well get one going.
Now, if you made a band, the other thing is deciding on like what type of music you want to make. So if in your ideal
Yeah.
world with no limitations, what kind of band do you think you would make?
Yeah, that's a hard one because I like so many different like genres of things that I'd be cool with just kind of doing an eclectic mix of like whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a big country guy, so we're not going to be fucking, you know, getting tricked. Like I'm not going to be fucking like, you know, doing that. But it's cool. Like we all similarly like kind of the same shit, and even like you were saying, like that the keyboard music you were talking about. There's like a whole Incubus song where that's all they do. Like they have a DJ who like does like sounds and crazy shit, and like they're not even really singing. They're kind of just like
They do cool like
playing and
record
yeah,
scratching
like
shit too.
so it's like I'm like whatever we end up coming up with. I've seen those videos where there's guys sitting together and you're fucking around and you do this and that, and then all of a sudden it kind of just comes together. That's what I know we can probably pull off.
Yeah, I
is
think
like
we could
just
too.
fucking around. Like I'm sitting here constantly with her making like parody songs of shit, like just throwing random stuff out. So like I bet we could do it. It would just come down to doing it. I don't have like a specific. That was kind of the other thing with this podcast was I don't have a specific goal. I just know that it would be fun to do that.
Yeah, I'm always 100% down. I've always been trying to I bought fucking Kayla a guitar once. I was like,
like we're doing
maybe
this
she'll
shit.
play it. You know, I was like, I won't force her to play it, but like maybe just sitting and staring at it, it'll be like, hey, maybe you want to pick that shit up.
Right? Yeah. Hey, why not?
Because Eric always says he wants to be in a band. I'm like, buy a guitar. I was like, you buy a guitar,
Yeah.
we'll be in a band 100%.
He's
But like,
he's the kind of guy that I don't ever see doing something like that. Like
Yeah.
I could never see him having the what do you call it? Like the determination to sit down. And
that's
really,
the thing. Like everyone's got to be committed to it. It can't just be, well, we'll play music whenever we get together. It's got to be
That's
like
just a jam. Like you're
when
not,
we go
yeah.
home, like I got to be practicing my guitar and you got to be practicing your vocals. Like we have to be on top of
On
like
it.
doing shit, you
Yeah.
know. So me and Jared are theoretical band name was May May. All right, and
May.
we'd have like two fucking, I don't know, cartoon girls or whatever. But the thing was, both Mays were spelled different. So if you joined in, we could be May May May, and we just spelled in three different ways.
Three different ways. That's kind of interesting.
I think I was like,
I like that a lot.
I
was
like MEI. I think Jared was MAY.
Yeah.
So we could be like MAE, May May May.
Yeah. Interesting, May May May. That's kind of funny. I kind of like that. And then what's funny is like you were saying, like all of a sudden you hear that, and then now you start getting ideas in your mind of what that should sound like.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, if that's the name, like if we were, a bloody sucker punch, we'd probably want to be like a little more hardcore.
Exactly.
But May May May's not going to be fucking Dragon Force like, like, you know what I mean? We're not. Yeah. So no, I mean definitely like kind of cool getting into like sound mixing, electric sounds, doing singing with, like even like just getting the drum beat thing with a DJ setup with guitars and all that other stuff. That might be the go. Is not even like we might not even need a drummer, just like a electric set kind of thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot of bands nowadays. There are even just like bands that are just one dude, and like that's how they do it.
That's how they
do
it.
Like,
yeah, I think Panic at the Disco did that.
Yeah, I have no
did,
issues
his solo
against
thing.
programming drums. It just be
yeah.
sitting down and taking the time to learn it.
Yeah,
because there's this one guy. His name's Paranol, I think, something like that. But he's really sick. But it's just one dude. He doesn't even play the guitar, but he just plays everything on keyboard. But like you wouldn't know. And he plays like this heavy ass like shoegaze, like tons of fuzz and like bit crushed drums, and like it just sounds crazy. But like it's just one dude on a piano.
That's cool. Have you ever heard of? If not, you should definitely look into this guy. Have you heard of Masego?
Yes.
Oh, dude, she showed me Masego. He's awesome, and he's the same thing. Like there's a video of him doing a song. And he's in the studio, and so like he starts with the sax, and he layers the sax, and he puts it down. And he goes and picks up another instrument and layers that, and like writes the whole song and does the whole song in studio. Does the whole song in studio, but can play all those instruments on his own. So that's the other flip. Is I like that too, or like mixing all that. But he's done that. He's awesome.
He definitely
awesome.
He came around the time where. Michael had just showed me Anderson .Paak.
Oh,
and it was kind of that like resurgence of like, I mean, I don't want to get super into it, but like, I guess you're a black artist that like, well, we're not just making like rap albums, Because then you had like your Anderson .Paak, Masegos, like Tyler the Creator started like doing his own thing, and like
it's a different path.
Frank Ocean, stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was cool. Cool.
I like that. No, 100%. That's one thing I tell people that all the time too. Like my music taste, half of it is practically from you. Like I got most of it from my dad, and then I got the other half from you because I would like. There was that time where I was driving to Amazon for work, and in the car I'd be listening to CDs, and I would go to your house and be like, "Here's your CD back. Can you give me something else?" And then I grew off from there. Action Bronson, the Untitled album from Kendrick, those different things like that. And so it was cool, like learning that way. And then now even I've gone back, I still have that playlist you made
it has like
where it just has fucking everything on it. And what's cool is it's cool seeing it now because when I go back and I run through it, I'm like, oh, like I've heard some of that stuff on my own now before hearing it from the playlist that you had added. Mm-hmm. But it's cool to like, I can see your thought process.
Yeah, and even that's like a time capsule.
It is. It's a super time capsule because you did it start to finish, and there's maybe 75 songs. There's hundreds of hours of content on that one playlist, and it's cool seeing the snake of like. I can see where you went like, oh, J. Cole, and then you went to an album, and then you added these songs from this album, and then you went to another album, and added a couple songs, and then like from there. Maybe like if he featured on whatever, like I could see you went to this other guy. Like I could see that mindset of like where you were thinking of songs and thinking of things to add, and then you like get a couple from each album and each artist, like as it goes down.
It's a cool period for me for listening to music, because compared to how it is now, back then I had the free Spotify. So if I wanted to listen to Kendrick Lamar, I listened to a shuffle of Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that's
so it was kind of. Whereas now I can listen to whatever I want. I kind of grew an appreciation for albums because I would just pick like, Good Kid, Mad City or like Section 80, but I didn't get to choose what song I listened to. Yeah. So eventually I would learn the whole album instead of just like going straight to the song I know and then skipping all the other ones.
Yeah, that's cool. That's actually very interesting. You went down a completely different path because I learned that Spotify, if you added one song to a playlist and then played that playlist, it would play that song. So I just had like a bunch of playlists of all the different songs I liked, and I'd go and I'd play that song. And occasionally Spotify would get smart and you'd click shuffle and then throw some other shit in there. You just clear the app out, go back in, play it again, and you got to hear that song. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. I never knew that. That's pretty funny. Oh, one thing I'll ask because I'd like to get it on record, just because I try to tell people all the time, and I like get midway through and I'm like I forget the details. We were talking about Sly Park the other day.
Oh, jeez.
Can you tell me again the story of like the events of the negative things that happened? Because I remember like the lake, your clothes got fucked up, but past that I don't remember too much of it.
We went to now I gotta remember. We went to Sly Park. All right, nothing matters besides that we went to this sixth grade, right?
Sixth grade, yeah.
Went to this lake, and they told us that in this lake, some dude had died like however many years ago, and they found all these coins in his pocket from like all over the world, and like some of the coins got lost in the lake. So they're like, because we were painting for gold or whatever the fuck you're doing there, they're like, you might find a coin. What they say, it's bad luck or whatever. And I found this like Canadian coin, and I was like mad hype on it.
Yeah, I found it, so
so I kept that shit. And from then on, it was just a downward hill spiral. So I remember getting out of the lake. I don't remember who it was. It was some fucking pretty girl. So I probably got like all nervous. So I was trying to like make way for it because you kind of had to like step on rocks to get across the lake. And I fucking slipped, ate shit. Now I'm like all soaking wet or whatever.
That like they had that like clay like mud shit.
Yeah,
like, that was just like it's slippery as fuck too.
So then after that, I think we like ate dinner or something, and I spilled like spaghetti on my fucking hoodie.
Yeah,
and I was like, hey, I spilled spaghetti on my hoodie. Like, can I wash it? They're like, we don't have laundry machines. Like, you can't wash it. And like that's like my only hoodie, and like it was hella cold.
It's cold, yeah.
So then now I got spaghetti all over my fucking hoodie. Then the next day, we go to eat breakfast. I spill syrup all over my fucking hoodie.
Oh,
and I got a big-ass orange spaghetti stain and a big-ass brown stain on my only hoodie. Then we go, like, on this hiking trail thing. And it was like... You were supposed to, like... I don't know, like, walk, like one person was supposed to close their eyes and the other person was supposed to like hold your hand.
This
and
is
they were supposed to guide you.
Yeah, this is the part that I always forget to tell people.
But there was like one stretch where I had to like go by myself. Yeah. And I remember it was like there's going to be a split path. Like go to the right. Yeah, don't go to the left. You go to the left, you'll get lost. And I got there and my dumb ass is like, fuck. Which way is
it? Yeah.
So then I think I went left, got hella lost. So like on top of everything that's stuff, now I'm fucking lost in the woods.
Lost, just gone.
And I remember I got to one point where there was like a hill going upwards, and I could see one of like the camp buildings. So I was like, fuck whatever class I'm in right now. I'm about to go up this hill of like whatever class is up there, like that's what class I'm in now. So I remember going up there and be like, hey dude, I got lost. I have no idea who I'm supposed to be with, but like, I'm a 6-year-old. I'm in fucking 6th grade. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Then we had like a rally or some shit, and like my tooth fell out like during the rally.
Shit.
Like baby tooth or whatever. Yeah. And I'm at the fucking like nosebleed, so I gotta like raise my hand and be like, hey man, my tooth just fell out. Like in front of everyone in the fucking assembly, and then gotta take like the awkward walk of shame,
walk down
all the fucking steps.
Oh my god,
with this tooth still in my mouth. It's in my mouth.
Yeah.
And then I think the last thing was I don't fucking remember her name, but some girl that I liked, someone found out, and then they like told her, and then I think she like came up to me, like I don't know why she came up to me, but then she was like, oh, I heard you like me, but like I don't really like you like that. So like on top of all this other shit that happened, like now I feel like a fucking loser.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So yeah.
Oh
I
my
just
God.
remember going home on like the bus home and be like, man, Sly Park fucking sucks,
Yeah, that
bro.
fucking, that's terrible.
Because I think Dylan had like hella fun.
I probably, it's funny you say that. I probably did have more fun than I remember. I barely remember that trip. My dad was there. I don't know if you remember that. My dad was there. He was the like leader of our little like every camp thing, whatever, little fucking whatever. Everyone had like their little adult. So he was the adult for our like cabin. And then somebody, because we were all still like kind of friends with Kathy, and I was still like close with her. And there's this guy that liked her, and he was like, "Oh, like did she touch this?" And took my sleeping bag and started like humping it, and I was like, "What?" Like kids doing stupid shit. That I remember, and then I remember because you and I were in different cabins. So you went on all those different things like separately. So I went to the lake, but I didn't do all that. Like we built the we built like forts in the forest. Like I remember small things like that. The only one was we got in a lot of trouble in my cabin because there were like different rooms. So we were like yelling at each other from across the hallway, like just making jokes, like fucking laughing and till like however long we were getting yelled at. I had a Pop-Tart that my dad like slid me. Because you weren't supposed to have like outside food like that. So funny. And I was like eating it and someone was like, "Where'd you get that?" And I was like, "Fuck." And then I got in trouble for having that. And then I heard a story that there was some kid in my cabin, which it was probably Mr. Sleeping Bag Humper, was leaving the cabin to go peep on like one of the girls' cabins across the way. Right. And they were like, "If you leave in the middle of the night, like you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Like don't leave we're in the fucking forest, dude." And then I don't know if you remember, but I remember the one time we actually got to hang out was the stargazing. We were looking through the telescopes. I think Natalie was there. I think it was you, me, and Natalie. We were standing there looking. That's at least my memory of that scenario. I do remember. But yeah, we were just during Halloween. I was telling people the Sly Park story, and I got as far as like spilling something in the cafeteria on yourself, and not having any clean clothes, and like the lake and shit. But yeah, the rest of it, when you said getting lost, my brain was like, "Yep," like I remember him getting lost.
You know the other funny thing that I just thought about that probably was connected. So we came home from Sly Park, and my grandparents. I think my grandpa had bought my grandma a fucking Wii, which back at the time, like that was the shit.
Yeah, the Wii.
But it was like for her.
Yeah.
So like me and Michael, like we weren't trying to fuck with it. Like, all right, well, it's not our gift or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they like returned it, and they're like, "Well, you guys didn't seem that excited about it." I was like, "Well, what the fuck? You didn't buy it for us."
You didn't buy it for us.
So I connect that to the same time
period as story.
Taking that fucking coin home lost me my Wii.
Yeah, damn.
I have no idea where that coin is. I had it for a long time.
Probably got rid of it at some point.
Yeah, right.
When we were younger, coming over to your house, and you were like, "Hey, so I really want to buy this game, and I don't have the money for it." And my grandparents told me if we washed all 3 cars, they'll take us to Costco.
Yeah,
we'll buy the game.
Mod Nation
so I was like, let's do it. So we busted out, fucking washed all 3 cars. They fucking literally that day took us to Costco. We got Mod Nation Racers.
Yeah, that game was sick, bro.
I literally heard that's one of the like few games from the past that's like locked away. Like it's hard. Like I think it's either like the servers are down or they like it's gone. Like there's not one of those things that you can just like up and play for some reason. Like it's locked in a vault of like classic games. That's because there's someone posted.
It's probably worth a lot because it was like literally only made the one time.
Yeah, they just were like, boom. Yeah, that game was.
Yeah, I remember I had a Game Informer back in the day that had like a ad for Mod Nation Racers 2.
Yeah,
but it just never came out. So I don't know what the story is behind that game.
They must have just shut it down.
I guess so because that first game was sick. I remember having a lot of fun with that game.
Oh, Little Big Planet 3 was the other one. Like I think they shut the servers down or something. Like that's another one that like, you can't just go back and play anymore.
That one's kind of sad.
Super.
So not just fucking Little Big Planet 3, but Little Big Planet 1 and 2. Yeah. The servers were still up and people were still playing it. And I guess someone like, I don't know the proper like technical term, but they like put this like DDoS virus thing out, which would pretty much like make and upload levels like fucking millions of times a second. And it just like crashed the whole game. So like that game's just dead.
It's just fucked.
Like you can't even play it.
Yeah.
Because somebody put that shit in there, and then they're like, "Well, fuck it, we're just gonna close the servers."
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad because like that was like my childhood, and like people were still playing it, having fun.
Yeah.
Like, just some one random guy like fucked everything,
Just destroyed it. That's why I think you'd probably like Astrobot. Is the amount of references. I mean, like every planet has a different character. And there's people where I recognize their face, like that game Killzone with like the guy with like the black helmet.
Yeah,
I don't know what his name is, but like there's a few different Astrobots that look like him in the game. Like you go and rescue the different ones, and they're all you when you play as Nathan Drake, they give you a gun, and like you turn into Nathan Drake and you're shooting people, and like it's cool. Like I love that, but like it's cool seeing like the old faces of like the old like Little Big Planet and Jack and Daxter, fucking. What's his name? Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, yeah.
They're all in it, and they're all little like Astrobot guys. It's the best. That's it. And Jasmine wants you to be able to take one of these magnets home too. So you should probably look at the cool
Dragon Ball
magnets.
Z one.
I was like, you'll probably take the Dragon Ball Z, and Jared might take the Mario one. But yeah, they're pretty cool either way. Well, that'll be it.
All right.
That's Dylan plus one. That's it. I don't